Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Migrating from AutoCAD to AutoCAD Electrical. This webinar is brought to you by Applied Software. My name is Caitlin Dunn and I'm pleased to be your moderator today. We encourage you to take advantage of our fully customizable webinar console by clicking on the icons at the bottom of your screen. You can resize any of these widgets during the presentation. We'll take time to answer questions at the end. Be sure to check out our free webinar library and to register for upcoming webinars. This is being recorded for your convenience. You'll be receiving an email with the recording link for future reference. Find Applied Software on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram to make meaningful connections, receive special offers, and stay up to date on the newest innovations. And be sure to visit our website, ASTI.com, to see how to achieve your design and business objectives through our innovative solutions, training options, and services. You can also find a complete schedule of upcoming events, webinars, and training on our calendar at ASTI.com/calendar. I'm pleased to introduce Todd Schmoock. Todd is a senior application specialist for Applied Software with years of experience in the industry. Thank you for joining us today, Todd. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. As Caitlin said, my name is Todd Schmoock, and I will be showing you the AutoCAD Electrical, going from AutoCAD to AutoCAD Electrical. And you should be seeing my screen now. So, okay, so with AutoCAD, you're working with regular just CAD files, and you have the typical interface, with the AutoCAD environment. But with AutoCAD Electrical, you have specially built tools, and they will help you migrate easier to the AutoCAD Electrical. But even if you're considering or on the fence about using AutoCAD Electrical, just moving to AutoCAD Electrical and using just some of the tools in there can save you a lot of time over the regular AutoCAD. Just to get you started to kind of think about some of these are the 10 most common ones that people will look at and be told that you can really save a lot of time with. So the options, I won't go through and read them all, but so you can take time to look at them up on the screen, but I did break down 3 of them that I like the most. So besides the obvious ones like with error checking and running reports, and once you make your electrical project smart, the top 3 that I really like are the creating a project and placing your AutoCAD drawings in them. That allows you to navigate more easily. It allows you to identify the various drawings and can add some additional information to them. And just doing that can save you over up to 15%, maybe in some cases over. Depends on how many drawings you have in a typical project. But once you get them into a project, then you can copy them. So you won't be looking at them as individually drawings anymore and trying to navigate and unpack and open them up. You'll actually have them all grouped together. Then you can actually do a tool that's called Copy Project, and then make a whole new project with any combination, either one or all of the drawings that are in the project. So that really makes it nice too. And of course, the files are native. So they're native DWG. So even if you got people that can't use the AutoCAD Electrical, you know that you can let them share them and see what's going on. So let's take a look at it. And when you initially look at AutoCAD Electrical, you see a browser on the left-hand side that's called a Project Manager. But if you look at the Home tab, it's the same Home tab that you're familiar with. But if I close the Project Manager down, now it looks just like regular AutoCAD. And if you were going to open up drawings from, here's your typical drawing that you would have, one at a time. But there are specifically built tools in the tool set. So if you're doing a schematic drawing, you would be on the schematic tab. So it makes it easier. So even for people that are having a little bit of trouble with the ribbon, it just makes it easier in AutoCAD Electrical, because you know if you're on a schematic drawing, you'd be on the schematic tab. If you're on a panel drawing, the panel tab. I want to do project-related information, I would be on the project tab. And if I'm doing reports or I want to run reports, I would be on the report tab. So if I turn back on the project manager, so now I can see the information that a project looks like. I'm going to show you a couple here that are just out of the box. These are the ones that would be installed when you install AutoCAD Electrical. So you got a project name. Down at the bottom, we have descriptions, so of the project. But we can group them into folders to make it easier. So there are all my schematic drawings, all of my panel drawings. And if I look at a drawing in there, I can look at descriptions for that drawing. You can put in a name, description for a name, and you got the file name, the location where it's at, some other information. Going back to the project, I can look at details on the project, additional extensions of information on that. There's also a preview. So I always like the thumbnails, and this way, without even opening up a drawing or using the open tool, you can just navigate easily right through them. So just trying to enforce the reason why just going to AutoCAD Electrical just to navigate and group your files together rather than individually. Just right out of the gate that way is very compelling for me. Well, if we look at another situation where we look at, typically we have our projects grouped in a project folder, maybe by customer, by order number, by whatever, but I got a group of drawings. So you can either leave them right at this group, go gather them, put them into the new project. I created a folder here that's called AutoCAD Electrical, AutoCAD to AutoCAD Electrical. So you could either copy them and paste them into here, keep them in the original location that you have. It really doesn't matter however you want to organize them. So I guess my whole point is you don't really want to worry about changing or updating or changing the way you work. Just work the way you work right now, and then just adapt and move into the AutoCAD Electrical. So with AutoCAD Electrical, of course, you got these other tools that are available. I mentioned you got the Home tab, the schematic. Well, what if I wanted to add my standard AutoCAD files into a project? Well, that's really easy. Besides the tools I have up here that you can hover over and look at, I can just right-click and say, hey, create a new project. Now, I like making the new project the same as the folder that the project files are in. So when I go to browse and add the additional information, so in other words, so here I have my project that I put these drawings in. I like to make that the same name, the same as that project name right there. Now, you could just navigate and Electrical automatically create that folder for you. I happen to create it prior to coming into creating the project, so I'm going to go browse for that. And inside there, I have that location that I want. So I'll uncheck that checkbox because I don't want it to create another one. Now I can build additional details in here. So there are properties that go with it. So I can set up standards. So in this case, I've decided I'm going to use the NFPA standard. So when I go OK on here and create that project, I've just created that project based off the NFPA. And as you can see, there's IEEE, there's the European, so there's different ways you can do it. Now, I want to go add drawings. So very simply, just right-click, go add drawings, and here are the drawings that I've added in. So I can add any combination of these. I can add as many drawings in this folder as I want. and I can have, and just pick whatever I choose to pick in here. So even though it looks like a box that has just one pick at a time, I'm going to pick several. Now, with that said, I made a comment about how the properties were based off of NFPA. So that's what that project property was set up for. So now it's asking, what would you like to do? Would you apply those properties to each of the drawings? So you can say, no, you can have the drawings separate or individual. They don't have to match the project. In this case, I'm going to go yes to match them. And it's actually updating the information now. That update's actually good. That's a good thing. And now when you look at this, you have a series or your standard AutoCAD drawings in your project. So those same drawings that I pulled from my Windows Explorer, added them to the project. Now I can go look at them, look at my details, look at my descriptions for the drawings, look at the thumbnails to view them. And maybe I might want to open up a drawing. In this case, I'm going to open up the number 4 drawing in here. So now that I have these drawings all in a project, I could run some other items in here. Besides making them electrically smart, which I can do at any time, I can just run a simple report right away. And I could say, I want to do a drawing list report. I want to see all of the drawings that are located in this project. So I can pick all or some. In this case, I'll do all because I want to run a drawing list report that I may want to put as the top cover in my technical data package. I can add project information, that project information I talked about earlier. I can put it on the drawing, this list, save it to a file. Notice the different ones. I like Excel. So I can, or just print it. And I can change those headers. So if I don't like, typically you wouldn't be doing time, so you can remove that. This is, I'll call it a typical, these are the fields that are available. So I could be removing and adding any field that I need to make that project list what I need to list. So I mentioned about project data. So if I were to look at the descriptions of a project, I can give it specific names here. So I can go in and say, this is my project name. It could be a PO number, what is the company. So I'll just add a few items in here. The job I have, this just happens to be what I made it be. Like I said, it's adaptable to whatever you want. You could add dates, who drew it. I'll just add some initials on these things here. So once that's added in here, and I look at the details, that's all showing up right down here. I'll have it showing up some other spots also. But the drawing has properties also. So if I were to look at the drawing properties, and by the way, I don't even have to open up the drawings to go to the property. So I can look at the drawing properties, and maybe I'll add control here. But notice you got 3 descriptions. I can add additional information. And maybe this is a control drawing, as I said. So I got some codes that I might want to put in here for that. Sheet number, drawing numbers. And if I look at my project manager, notice that those codes are showing up here. When I go to run reports, those codes will show up. So, and I could make the folders as I showed you on that other project. So plenty of ways to organize them above so you would do it with AutoCAD, regular AutoCAD or with Windows Explorer. Well, another area that's where you could save a lot of time, and this is where you'll save more time the more drawings you have, but even with just a handful of drawings as I have here, that the properties that I put in for the project, the drawing, I can map them to the title block. So just by simply right-clicking and going to pick a tool, I can go pick those properties. Remember, I put in the project name, the company name, job number, whatever I want to add in here. If you're lazy, you can hit select all. because whatever's mapped or whatever you want, you can do any combination of it. Description. So the top part is all about the project. The bottom part's all about the drawing. Maybe I might want to put in the sheet numbers, the value numbers in here. I have the ability to do active drawings, so this current one, or back to project-wide, so any combination of the project. So here we are again with the numbers, but look at this. Here's where I had the section codes. So I've identified them. So I might want to say, you know what, do just all the schematics. And it automatically picked that section code and moved it down here, or by subfolder. So back to just an easy way to manage them. When I go OK on this, all of those properties that I had mapped to my title block will show up here. So that's where, rather than going like this and double-clicking and using the attribute editor, which you could still do, this is just an easier way to do it. And what if you made a mistake and let's say you had 30 drawings, 100 drawings, 900 drawings, and you made a mistake on that project name, and it really should have been, two X's in there. Well, it won't automatically update because now I have the ability to make those changes in the property, go back to here, and I'm back to picking and choosing the drawings that I want it to go to. Do I want it to go to all of them, some of them? So do all, process some. So I'll just do one, and notice now I got the double X's in there. So just another way to not only save time, and we didn't do anything with AutoCAD Electrical now, even the functionality. So we didn't even take advantage of any of the tools other than the project manager. So I would like to joke around and say, well, how much time did that save? And I know in my past history with companies that I've worked at, that would have saved a lot of time. We just put in, for every drawing I had to do that and edit, that takes me 5-10 minutes. Well, that's easy to do the math on it. Why make a change? Well, guess what? That's another round of going back in versus I'm just going in here and making changes that way. So there are other tools. And another tool that I really like is on the schematic. So I'm on the schematic drawing, so I'm on the schematic ribbon. So that's what makes it nice. I could insert components, edit components, copy information. It's not just regular AutoCAD anymore. It's actually recognizing things as wires, numbers. Well, let's say that I had a title block that needed to be changed because I don't want it to say Autodesk anymore. I want it to say Applied. Well, I can go into this guy right here. Let me back up on here so you can see where it is on the ribbon. It's the swap update block tool, which sometimes is one of those hidden tools that unless you saw someone do it or you went to training, you didn't realize that this tool was here. So one at a time, here's the power, drawing wide, project wide. I want every one of my title blocks in the project to be swapped out. I'll just do one at a time here so you can see that. And I can pick from a dialog box. And this is just one way to do it. So I happen to have my projects located out of the box in the project area, and I want to swap out to that title block. And I want to swap that one out. So now I have the brand new title block that has applied. Autodesk is gone. And I'm back to I can run this title block update tool again. Depending on how I did it, if I would have used another option in there, I could have swapped out, and if my attributes were the same, which in this particular case they weren't, but they would have kept the values in the attributes also. So I wouldn't even have had to worry about doing it again. But it's easy to do again, and really doesn't take that much time to click on a tool, and it really doesn't matter. Another area we get is we made it smarter. Under options and conversion tools here, I can convert dumb AutoCAD ladders to smart ladders. I can convert wire types to smart wires. I can take in and convert text to wire numbers. So there's plenty of them. Export to and import details from exported to Excel, import it back in after I make changes. But here's another one that I really like. it's inserting. I got my blocks all saved out. I could save them into a library, and I could say, you know what, I want to bring that circuit in. I could group them into 3 phases, however I want to group them. Just using regular management tools like you're already, whether in the Vault and organizing it that way or through Windows Explorer. And in this case, I got a company circuit that I want to put in. And I can scale it, make some other changes. But now I have that typical block, and I'll bring that in. And now AutoCAD Electrical recognized that already. So it's kind of like doing programming, right, where you're just doing some codes, snips to codes, bringing them in. But then there's a tool here where I could update, see how it automatically made them question marks. Well, I could automatically run a wire tagging tool back to, again, project-wide, drawing-wide, individually. I'll do drawing-wide. So now they've automatically updated. Well, how did they update? Because I've told Electrical that I have certain wires that are smaller. So that's how I can tell it what to do. Well, because it did become a little bit smart with me hardly doing anything. Matter of fact, just a little tip here, bringing in a circuit can automatically make some wires smart, depending on how you bring them in. So I have other tools where I could run, another one of my favorite tools. If I wanted to remove or modify these wire numbers, I can do them all at once. So I'll say remove all in the active drawing, again, those projects. So I've gotten rid of them. In AutoCAD, you would never want to do that because that would take forever, right? Well, maybe not forever, but it would take a long time to go and add them all back in because most likely they were just dumb text. But with AutoCAD Electrical, I can remove them, bring them back in, tweak them, modify them. I made a comment, I can export them to Excel spreadsheet. So I can easily just bring them right back in. And there they are. My wire numbers are all back in. My components automatically update. So as I make them smarter, there's a icon menu that I can pull the information in from. So how did that, besides the fact that I brought it in using another tool, inserting a W block circuit, how did I get that push button in there? Well, there's a tool that the icon menu that allows me to go grab a push button. And I can go grab that and put that item in there. I'll put it on 405. I can add additional information to it, descriptions. I really like the fact that I got default information that I could add information to. I can go to manufacturing data, either look at what's on the drawing in the project, look it up into a database. So it's physically looking it up in my database where I've got all my company part numbers in there, which is definitely in the long run is the way to go. And now I could technically run reports on here. Other tools to scoot. Well, matter of fact, maybe what I'll do is add a rung in here. I'll add a rung at 405. Notice how it automatically breaks. So another example of how things will happen automatically. I could scoot that push button anywhere along that rung. I could move it off, align it with anything that I want. But that is actually a wire now. So that's why that's going to be recognized as a wire. And then that component is a valid component. So even without doing, other than doing some conversions, always back to, I always like to do the kind of the minimum, work my way into it, don't overwhelm myself. And that's what I'd recommend for everybody thinking about moving to it, to do the same thing. So if I go up to reports, I have several reports here. I could run schematic reports, panel reports. Well, I'm on a panel, so I'll run a panel report. I'm on a schematic, so I'll run a schematic report. I was going to say I'm not on a panel. So if I went to run a panel report and I said, hey, do it on the active drawing, I had no panel components. Panel components are one-to-one. I'll show you a panel drawing in a little bit. But Electrical's smart enough to go, well, there is nothing here. So it's updating, it's trying, but it goes, well, there's nothing there. But there are schematic reports. So here are the schematic reports. I can run bill of materials. What's really kind of nice is you got checkers here. I could run missing information. Matter of fact, I could run component and wire from to. That's what that one is. Where are these wires all connected to? I could run table summaries, terminals. That really comes in handy. What about PLCs? So there's automatic PLCs in here. How about I just run a bill of material right now, and I'll do it on the active drawing. And we'll take a look at for some items that we can find. Well, here's the CR403. Right there's the CR403. That was that circuit that I just brought in. And then a push button 405. Right there's the push button 405 that I brought in. I told it what the catalog number was, the manufacturer, and it pulled the additional information from the database. And here's the 403A that was in here. That's that one. The different information that can come in. And I'm back to again. I can put it on the drawing, save it to an Excel spreadsheet, however I want to do it. That was one of the changes I made when I was implementing this at my previous company. I used to put the bill of materials on the drawing, and I reduced revisions down significantly just by exporting to Excel and making it the bill of material be an A-size sheet extracted right from the drawing, and then adding it to my technical data package. Well, I made a comment about how I could add project lines. Well, here's an option for you. So see how it doesn't show any information up here. Well, what if I make a change to my descriptions and I say, you know what, I want to add the project name, company name, and project number. When I go to run another report and I have my reports in here, I can click that option to add that information in here. So whatever you pick at that other location, so another time saving. So the smarter you make it, the more time you're going to save. But just right out of the gate, just doing little things. I'll just show a couple more here. Wire from to report, active, then I got the project or the pick. I'll just do all. So you might be doing this already. Some people are. They got dumb text that says to the system, where are these push buttons located? I'll pick on one of these right here. So it has the operator station 3. Well, that's what these are. So I could have it tell me wire information just for the things that are wired to the operator station, or wired basically from the operator station to the junction box, to the main cab. Well, I'll do all. The question marks are the ones that don't have anything identified. I'll just do all so you can see the information. And here are the wire numbers, the from to. So here's my wire number, the location, the component that it's going to, pin numbers if I did put them in, which some of them I did, the wire layer that it's on. And then the last one that's really, besides the fact that all these are really good reports, this guy right here, the wire label. So you have a wire label machine, and you want to print these. Again, I can do all or just process one of them. And it gives 2 columns, which I can adjust, and it gives 2 columns, beginning wire and ending wire. And then I can print that, again, saving it out to Excel and putting it into my label printer. And I'm going to get all the wire labels that I put onto this drawing. So no more separately plugging them in and typing them in. I mentioned in the past, or mentioned about exporting the spreadsheet. Another tool that I really like, which can save, it can be used to save time, and it can be used to actually check your drawing also. That's what I've discovered over the years, is that I'm using it as a checker. So I export to spreadsheet. This has saved me in many times. I've put in wrong PLC information, PLC addressing. In this case, I'll just do components, but I've done wire numbers. So I can export the information, again, identifying projects, active drawing, Excel, whatever you want. I'll just do Excel. I'll save it down to, the documents looks good. If I want to go bring it back in, it's going to remember the information, but before bringing it back in, I'll go modify it basically took that, well, it took the drawing number and just added an Excel extension to it, and that's how it made it into that. So if I decide to bring it back in, I have that same ability, right? But let me show you, I'll make a change to it. And rather than bringing it back in, I'll open it up in Excel. And I'll make some changes to it. So let's see, I have my, some things that were missing. There's that 405. And maybe I want to change that. Maybe I'm just change my mind. I'm going to go, okay, I want all of my information here, which happens to be at that 403 area. So I'll include that. I want it to go to the mechanical CAD instead. If there were any information as far as catalog number that you wanted to make a change, I made a comment saying that I could use this as a checker. Well, if I see gaps in here, that allows me to go figure out what those gaps are. Why are there gaps? So if there's gaps, it might be because there's data missing. So another example of saving time. And then I'll just bring it back in, and I'll do it on the active drawing. And notice that now from Ops Station 3 to MCAD. So it made that change for me. And in AutoCAD, you would have been basically navigating around, doing one of these, hunting and pecking, and then making the changes. And we're back to how long would that take? So I mentioned about a panel drawing. So in AutoCAD Electrical, we have panel drawings. So here's an example of a panel drawing. Another example of a panel drawing. You got your terminal blocks. If I go back to here, I've pre-connected a few things just so in the time frame that we have. So let me take a look at that. If I right-click on here, I like right-clicking because it gives me all the right-click information that I need rather than looking up in the panel area. I can do a tool that's called Surfer. And this Surfer tool will actually look at all the components that are connected together. So I happen to have the main one, which is one I right-clicked on, which is on the schematic. But I happen to have a nameplate. I know that because it says MP. And it's on sheet 8. But the pound sign tells me that it's on the panel drawing. So I could go to either one of these. When I go to, it will save the drawing that I'm on and open up the drawing that I want to go to. And in this case, we wanted to go here. So I can go edit it, delete it, make some other changes to it, zoom back to or go back to the previous drawing that I was at. So a very easy navigational tool for that. Another area, you might see these guys up here on the wires. These are valid wires. Well, I can surf on those too. So this wire isn't just on this drawing. This wire actually is on sheet 3. It's letting me know that too. I could navigate to that. So the wires and the components don't just end on one sheet like they would in AutoCAD. And then it's up to you with dumb text and trying to figure that out. You're actually making them smart. So that's the biggest thing. You're making them smart. And your goal, in my opinion, should be to be able to make them smart. And I guess I'll just throw one other thing in here before I end it. I have catalog data. Let me just go in and delete that out. So now I don't have the catalog data in there anymore. If I go to my reports ribbon, I can use a couple things here. One of them is missing. Maybe I want to show missing catalog data. And let's say that you've got a bunch of them are migrating to it, or you're fully blown AutoCAD Electrical, but you were trying to get the circuit done, and you didn't add all the information in. So you can hit show, and it puts a little image around here to let you know. From a high level, that will stand out, and you'll be able to easily see what's missing. I zoomed in just because on this one, I happen to know that that's where it was. But as I zoom out, they'll go away. The other area that I can do, too, is in this one. Use this as a checker. Missing bill of material, active drawing. Let it tell me which ones are missing. And there's that 404, LT 404 that was put in. So use them to your advantage. one, I keep thinking of all these other tools you could use. Another one's electrical audit. It'll literally report on all of the errors that you've left in the drawing, or in this case, the project says there's 55 errors, which isn't too bad when you consider a project, but our goal is none. Let's look at the active drawing just to make it easy. It puts red circles around to let you know which one it is. Well, remember that LT 404 that had the missing catalog data? Well, not only could I find it, but I can also identify, not only through this dialog box, but I can also go to, and it zooms in and leave that box open. And then I can right-click on this guy, edit it, go back to my catalog data, look it up, put that information in, and I've solved it too. So the next time I run it, it's a little X to the left, next time I run this tool, I will only have 4 errors. Just to give you some other ideas, wires that are unconnected is an issue. So I could go to that, and there it is. It's an unconnected wire, so it knows that. And then just one more here, a relay. It's got a child, but there's no parent. So in this case, it's a little bit of a different one. I'm not going to connect it, but I have the ability to leave it the way it is or connect it by pulling a list from the drawing, the project, picking it. But once it's connected, then it won't show up as an error. And here's an example of one that is connected. This CR403 is connected to there, and as you can see, it's letting us know that. 404, that's that one. Well, how could I prove that? Well, I could go do our surfer, and now we know that that's the child. So just a couple things that makes it easier for you to use AutoCAD Electrical besides just dumping them into a project. You just saw a few extra things that I would recommend to use. At the very least, even if you say to yourself, I only got 2 or 3 drawings, I don't see any advantage to going 100% to AutoCAD Electrical, most likely you have the tool or the software. I would say take advantage of it and at least make a project, at least use the project manager, at least put the information here. Manage your projects and your drawings this way rather than individually, or now one at a time. And then update your title blocks like what I showed here. Take advantage of just some of the tools at the very least of what I've showed you. Just keep in mind that there are dozens of other tools that can be used. Just not enough time, of course, in the time frame that we have now to use to find them. So you just saw a few. Hopefully that got you excited. I know it when I saw it earlier on, it did for me. And I would really recommend that you take advantage of it sooner and take the time savings now rather than later. And with that said, that ends my demo of the software. And if you have any questions.
All right, thank you so much, Todd. That was wonderful. Thank you. So yeah, we can give everybody a minute to type in any questions they have. If they have a question that maybe they're not quite able to put into words just yet, what's the best way to reach you, Todd?
So I would say email me with a question.
Okay.
And have any questions, that would be great. I don't mind getting emails saying, hey, I saw your demo and I just have a couple questions, that's fine. And I'll get back to you. And of course, you can always work with you and your company, and we can go do a deeper dive into the possibility of you moving a little bit more full-blown into AutoCAD Electrical. And we can talk to you about your projects and the options that you have and what other advantages you could do and take advantage of it. Kind of hit more of those top 10 lists. And there's more. We can do a top 50 list, but thinking of those top 10 lists. And by the way, Caitlin, if people are interested in that list, there's actually a PDF that we make available to them. It's just a 2-page PDF that shows them those top 10 reasons why you'd want to move to AutoCAD Electrical. So we can make that available to them also.
Perfect. Do you have a slide or anything that might have your contact info just in case they want to get that from you?
I'll go back up to that, and I will go back to the beginning. Matter of fact, here are the top 10 that I'm talking about. We have that in a PDF that we can make available to you. And there is my contact information. So yes, if you got questions from this, feel free to email me at the email listed there, and I will get back to you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. It looks like we didn't have any questions, so I'll just go ahead and wrap it up. Well, thank you, everybody, so much for joining us today. We appreciate you spending your time with us, and we trust that it was meaningful and impactful for you and your business. We look forward to, wait, there's a question from Carl, who asks, will we have a recorded version of the webinar? Yes. Everybody who registered will get a recording of the webinar sent to their email. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Todd. That was awesome and super informative. Hope to see you on a future webinar as well. Thanks, everyone.